And welcome back. We're moving into our final discussion for today, and we're going to be talking about the Belize Coast Guard Wonder Woman Challenge. And joining us for this conversation, we have Lieutenant Junior Grade Alma Piniello, and we have Seaman Rosalind Reed. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Now, let's talk about the challenge itself. And how did it come about?
Well, it came about last year around October. I'm sure you all are aware of the Belize Coast Guard Best Warrior Challenge.
Yes.
So it kind of stemmed off of that, where the females came to me that they wanted to do something for them. So I said, we can think about it. And as soon as they came with me with the idea, I said, why don't we do it in March, where we can do it in conjunction with Women's Month. So we started thinking about it really at the beginning of this year. We sat together, we did a committee of 4 of us, myself, Reed, and 2 others, and we just came up with a 2-day event, really just to give us an opportunity to do something like that.
To compete as well.
And to compete and to empower each other to work better as a team. And really that's what it's about. It's about teamwork and empowering one another.
Let's backtrack a
yeah.
bit and talk about your individual involvement in the Coast Guard. How long you've been a part of the Coast Guard, and what prompted you to join?
Okay, I was really a part of the Coast Guard until 2013. I joined in through the officer cadet selection to the BDF in 2008. And then 2009.
So you were with the BDF before?
Yes, and then in 2009 I got selected to go to the U.S. Coast Guard Academy, where I was there for 4 years. Graduated in May of 2013 and then came back to the Coast Guard.
Okay.
So I've been the adjutant since then.
Okay. And Rosalind?
I passed out in 2008, been there 7 years. I was in the BDF volunteers before, and I prefer working at sea, so I joined then.
What's
Now-
the presence of females or the population?
Currently we're at 9% of the total, which is, we were at I think about 7 when I first joined. So we have about 32 out of 353. So that's where we are right now.
Why were you both interested in being a part of, well, you both had experience in BDF before, but joining a part of national security for the country?
For me, I don't really have a military family. Only my uncle was a lieutenant colonel, now retired. So it was really, he was my only experience in what it is to be military, and I met other people through the BDF. But it was really, for me, I'm from San Pedro, so the water was always a part of my day-to-day routine. And then looking more into the service academies, which was really how I started going into the Coast Guard Academy, was what caught my eye more than the Naval or at West Point.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a little different than for her, so that's why.
Yeah. So it was part of the academia that attracted you
Yes.
first, and then being able to work with water.
Yes.
And for me, I always had military stuff. I was the youngest person in volunteer at 15. And I think I was the youngest for my intake in Coast Guard at one point. So I always had something for military and being at water, because my dad, he's a fisherman, my whole family, they are from sea, so it was just right.
How difficult is it to be a female in military service? 9%. That means you
9%.
are almost always one or one of 2.
Correct.
In particular courses or out on different missions.
Correct. On different missions, it's definitely at least only 2, because we need to have a companion with you. And that's our protocol, to always have at least 2 females on anything, whether it be a mission or even if it's just working on base. So it is a small world. We tend to try to have each other's back more often than not. We tend to meet as a female group at least once a month, if not once every 2 months, just to kind of make sure that everyone is doing okay. But it is difficult. I was just in DC last week, and I went by myself. I'm used to going to things by myself, but it is more difficult than that. But
Yeah.
it's just trying to get the service back to acknowledging that it is just gender. It is not, I'm a military person, I'm not a military woman or a military man, I'm just a military person. And I think that's where we need to step the way forward for it to be, oh, you're just a woman in a man's world. It shouldn't be like that.
Is the training any different?
No, it's not.
It's the same
And-
thing.
And that's the key. That's the underlying factor,
Yeah,
right?
there's no
That's
gender.
the same thing.
So, and I was just going to talk about that because the rigors of the Coast Guard, everybody talks about that. So for females, what is that journey like?
She could probably explain to you a little more from what it is to be
kinda
from a
rough
recruit.
Because from we're in training, it's not a male, it's not a female, you're a recruit. And our training chief, Chief Sambala, his thing is always he doesn't like females, but he doesn't say it for you to feel bad. It's just that you're not a female in training, you're a recruit, and you need to do the same thing. They won't have leniency on you because you're a female. If you want to join the ranks of something like that, you need to do everything as they do it. And it was
And you can.
and honestly, if for a female, honestly, we can take pain. So if you give us a training and we want to accomplish something, we will do everything to accomplish it. That's just in a woman's intuition.
And from what I've seen, I always have 5 females in every recruit intake. And out of that 5, I rarely have to dig into my standby list. If I start with 5, it's the 5 that will stay there the whole time. I've had males drop out easily from like
Following day.
between 2 hours in training to 1 week in training, they're dropping out. But I think this one was the most females I've had to call, and it was 2. But every other intake that I've done since 2013, I stick with the same 5 throughout the whole training.
Now, let's talk a little bit about, for those of us who are not familiar with adjutant. And what exactly is your role?
As the adjutant, I'm they call it the adjutant or the G1. I'm responsible for personnel, administration, discipline, and
Kind of a HR
kind of, yes. So I'm that person, and I tend to act as Admiral's aide too. So if the commandant calls me and says, Aj, I need this, this, and that, I drop what I'm doing, I do what I need to do for him, and then carry on.
Discipline.
Yes, this
Yeah. What does that? What does it mean to have that particular role?
It is an interesting role. It's a pretty difficult role, I think, of everything that is in my portfolio. If anybody does anything to implicate themselves either with the police or within the job itself, so if they do anything that is contradictory to our regulations, then they need to go up. Either they get written up as a report, as a first initial report, or a disciplinary interview in front of me, or I need to actually do the whole process of sending it up to the Security Service Commission for a trial.
Yeah. Now you made a point of saying earlier, and it's a very difficult, not difficult. People usually don't know how to approach the conversation because while you don't want to point out that you're women
Right.
in a male-dominated field, because there are not enough women in this particular field, we do have to look at some of the challenges or differences that may exist. You pointed out that you want to be seen as a military person, and you've done all your training and obviously have been able to acquire particular responsibilities because of what you contribute. Now, how do you interact with the new recruits, the new female recruits, in terms of encouraging them to remember they are a military person, and that they can be able to get far within the service itself?
The seaman reaction.
I'll get Rosalind's reaction afterwards, but go ahead with that. Yeah.
What I normally do is directly following their training, like this particular intake will graduate next week. They go off on their, what we call shore leave, so their break, and when they come back, I tend to bring the 5 of them into my office and just to get a one-on-one with them as an intake, and just kind of have a conversation with them, ask them, you know, how their experience was in training, know that they can always come to me for anything, especially when it's strictly female-related issues that they might be a little timid to talk to their commanders about, or and that's how I normally start off the conversation. And then following they would be as a part of a female group. So they just know that they can do pretty much anything that they put their minds to in the Coast Guard, and as long as they do what they need to do, follow a straight line, don't implicate themselves anywhere with discipline, that they'll get where they need to be.
For us, because I'm a part of intake too, and we're actually the first set of trained females, 6 of us. And for us, it's kind of difficult because like every other intake that comes from behind, they look at us for, you know, guidance and stuff like that. So we have to show them, like, be an extra example for them because they would want to follow what we're doing.
Now, you were talking about this intake, and you have 5
There's 5, yes.
5 females. What's the normal population, or in terms of intake, that you have?
For each intake, it's always, we try to keep 50. So it would be 45 males and 5 females at the beginning. Whether or not that sticks with the males and females, it's who completes it. So right now we're at 45, so it's 40 males and 5 females.
So let's talk about your Wonder Woman challenge. That's a big name to stand up.
Yes.
So, and I love what you pointed out, that obviously you all were seeing that the men get to compete on an annual, and it's a rigorous challenge.
Yes, it is.
So you decided to create one especially for the females. Is it only for the Coast Guard?
Initially, I wanted to extend it out to all females of the security forces. So when I did my instructions, I sent it out to the police department and to the BDF. But unfortunately, they decided to decline. But what I'm thinking for next year is to send it out to the women's department instead, and just to have it as a part of the entire Belize community. So it would be military personnel and civilian. So it could be a more interesting
So what type of challenges are you guys?
Well, we decided to incorporate different things. We didn't want to make it extremely strenuous because it is for participation and it's mostly for fun and empowering each other. So what we did, the first day, it'll be at Marion Jones Stadium. And obviously we're inviting the public to come and watch us. And it'll be 4 laps around the track. So we'll start off with 1 lap and then you'll go up and down the stairs. I think one of the pictures showed the girls going up and down. So we'll do that 4 times and it's about a mile. So it's not too bad. We've tried it before, and I think
It's not?
Oh, I mean, for persons who are a part of regular training,
The training, if it's, our aim is 4 laps, so we tend to do 10. So on D-Day, the 4 will be like
A breeze.
a
breeze.
Ooh.
Okay.
And then following that, we'll probably do it in the afternoon. We're doing like relays. So at the Williamson training complex, we'll do a series of relays. I think we start with 3-legged race once, then a fireman carry, so you have to carry each other, bear crawl, and then a wheelbarrow, and then a sprint. So it's just using your team as to get across the different.
And those are just the challenges for day 1?
Yes,
day
day
one.
1.
Okay, so
that's
day
the
2?
easiest
Day 2 is a little more challenging and intense. We'll start off at the Price Barrack pool, and we'll do 5 laps in the pool. And then you come out of the pool, put on your tennis and your dry clothes, and then we do the obstacle course at Price Barracks, is the Marine Corps obstacle course. Some of the pictures are shown here. And so you need
with
to
the logs and the tires?
No, the ones with the
CrossFit.
That's the other one.
Okay.
The rope, climbing the rope.
Climb, yeah. So the objective is to just have to get your entire team across. However you can do it, obviously that's a part of the Marine Corps obstacle course. Just to get your entire team across. For the Best Warrior competition, it is absolutely not assisted, but this one is completely assisted. So either way, and some of us are a lot shorter, so we can't even, when we reach up, we don't even touch the bars up there. So. So that's day 1 in the morning.
Assisted by our teammates.
By teammates,
Yes.
Yeah.
But everybody has to cross
Everybody
over.
has to cross
With the
over.
event, you have 4 persons that will partake in each event, and you have 1 alternative that will always be someone that will assist you.
Okay. And you'll be competing against each other?
We'll be competing against each other.
So how many teams you have?
Right now, I think we have 4
teams.
4 teams.
1 from the recruits, and 3 from what we would consider as fleet, the other females.
Yeah, and then the final is the CrossFit competition. It's a little downscaled. We're still
On day
flipping
two.
On day two, we're still flipping the same tires that they flip.
Yes.
I think the logs might be a little
log.
lighter. That's the only
The
difference.
smaller log.
And we're not doing the chain carry either. So we kind of tweaked it a little bit.
We're doing their obstacle course, the tires, the logs, and the ending we'll do the rope climbing. And at the end of day 2, we have a tug and war.
Oh, when you're completely exhausted, you'll try to pull each other across the
The
line.
whole challenge is a tug and war.
Over a pool?
No,
No.
that would be funny, but no.
It's such a pity it can't be multiple security forces, but I guess
Yeah.
this
really
is the
wanted-
first year.
Yes.
We really wanted them to come, but I guess they're
Because it's not really for prizes or anything like that, but it's mostly just for the camaraderie between the forces. But next year.
Is there an indication that they may be interested in future? Or for now it's just
Well, they told me maybe next year. on
Maybe
the
next
phone,
year.
so
Okay.
Hopefully.
And the dates and times? And both days are open to public?
Yes, it'll be both starting at 8 on the 17th and 18th. So this week, Thursday and Friday.
Nice. All right. And you guys are ready? Are you on the same team?
Yes,
I'm
we are.
actually the same.
That's why there's no smack talk taking place. How competitive do you guys get with each other? Because you talk about being a support system for each other within the Coast Guard, but now you gotta.
Yeah, I think everyone is in the Coast Guard is competitive by nature. I believe we tend to pull the same type of type A personalities. So we are competitive within each other, and I've seen it when we divvy the teams up. They're like, well, your team is stronger than mine. I was like, well, not really. So we had to, I wanted to just pick names out of the hat, but then I realized that might be not the best idea. So we tried to balance out the teams by strong runners, strong swimmers, and kind of just have a balance in each team.
Okay.
Well-
Hopefully it works out.
Well, it's your first year, and I think it's a wonderful idea. Of course, fitting within the theme for Women's Month as well, that you show that women are as capable, and that we're strong, and that there is far more than just being the traditional role of the woman that people
right.
are used to, right?
Exactly.
So we'll see you lifting the tires and all that fun stuff.
Yes.
Good luck.
Thank you.
No, to your team. I didn't mean, in terms of. Is there a team that you're looking at as the team to beat?
The recruits.
Well, everyone will say the recruits because they're the ones that are in training right now, and
Oh, so they're in the best shape.
they should be in the best shape. So, because we've worked out together since the end of January, so roughly about a month, trying to work up to this. So I think we should all be in decent shape for it. The recruits should be in better shape.
This is also a great opportunity for people to see part of the training they would go through if they're interested in Coast Guard as well. Yeah, and you guys intake up to the age of
24.
24, right? So young people can come out and see what they can be able to do after a couple of months of training.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
All right.
We're going to go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, it'll be for a wrap. Don't go anywhere. Open your eyes, concludes after these messages.